Well, looking at right now, we have with us Mr. Achi Wobodo. We have Barrister Achi William Wobodo, who is Special Assistant to former Governor Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi on intergovernmental matters. Well, you have heard the current Commissioner for Information in Rivers State giving the government side of the story. What's the former governor side of the story?
Well, the truth of the matter is that it pains me when public officers come to use public platforms like this to begin to deceive the public. The first thing to say is that prior to his assumption of office in 2007, we all knew the security situation in Rivers State, and there was need for the government to fight insecurity then. They crafted, with the assistance of security operatives then, an integrated security solution, part of which was to purchase Metro Patrol system, put surveillance cameras around the state, have a unified command and control system and all of that. And now to complete the web, there was need to buy these helicopters. The request for this helicopter was placed between 2010 and 2011, and the whole transaction was consummated in 2012, I guess. Now,
you're not sure?
About that time. Now, the Office of the National Security Advisor then was fully informed, was in the picture of the transaction, and then these helicopters, if you are a journalist, if you just do a retrospect into 2012, 2013, Google it, you'll find that this was a point of controversy in this nation, where the former governor said, look, we have imported these helicopters. It is not for my personal use. It is for the security of the state. Please do release this helicopter. But the previous administration frustrated it. They never wanted it to be delivered to Rivers State on the account that they felt, oh, the governor was going to use it to enhance security, and that will not allow them bring criminal elements into the state for the election. So it was frustrated. The governor shouted. Now, points were made. Within that period also, the National Security Advisor summoned the Rivers State government, in the representative of Rivers State government, the former commissioner, to come and talk about the matter, to put clarification to the matter. The aircraft was imported or purchased for security purpose for the state. It is not a military helicopter, so to speak. It is a civilian helicopter, but it has more of intelligent guard network. The governor discussed with a lot of oil companies then to also collaborate in the logistics arrangement.
So what was the plan as at that time?
Yes.
Was it that the Nigerian military was going to be able to use it, or was it going to be handed over to the Nigerian military, or was it something that the Rivers State government was hoping to operate by itself?
It was for Rivers State government to operate, because Rivers State government had not set up a security solution, but it would be operated by the Air Force, by the DSS, by the police. It was a joint team that was supposed to handle this helicopter at that time. Now, but because we all know what happened in the last administration, towards the end of the Amaechi's administration, where the government frustrated every effort. They refused to grant him the access. They had granted waiver.
Mr. Tamjudge, you know, already raised some questions there. Yes. He talked about how is it, because in the reply statement, we realized that the former governor did say that the National Security Advisor contributed some money. I mean, the federal government, through the Office of National Security Advisor, contributed some money to the purchase of those helicopters. Yes. Then why would the federal government then turn back and frustrate the importation of the helicopter that they contributed towards?
Because that's the reason I've told you here. They came up with all manner of story. Oh, this man is going to use these helicopters to further the ambition of his principal, who then they contested an election. They didn't want the criminal elements in the state to be chased away. These helicopters would assist in further driving away this criminal element. They wanted the criminal elements to be there so that they could use them for the election. So they made sure these helicopters were not released. I said, if you just take a little Google, type it, 2013, you will find that the governor consistently shouted to the media. He said, I paid for this. This is wasting.
So are you saying that Mr. Amaechi had confidence in the security agencies to be neutral? Because one of the accusations against the security agencies at that time was that they were not neutral and they were pandering to the whims of the federal government. He had the confidence in them that they would be neutral enough to use it to chase away the criminals that the federal government was allegedly going to import into the state?
Well, before the importation of the aircraft, the military, security agencies were neutral, as it were, you know, and they were working. But by 2013, that had ceased. When the former commissioner, Mr. Mbo, came into the picture, everything changed. But even at that, the governor said, look, these helicopters were not bought for private use. They were bought for the state. They were bought, it was a contributory project by the federal government and the state government.
Wait, so, at any point, was the Rotimi Amici government granted a waiver for the purchase of these helicopters? Now,
the waiver would apply at the point of importation. When the aircraft has landed, that's when you now begin to grant waiver. Waiver is granted for clearance. So it's at the point of landing that you begin to talk about waiver. Now, this waiver was not granted. The approval to even bring in the aircraft was no longer there.
We'll go to Lagos now for more questions.
He says those waivers were never granted. Do you have any documents to show the country?
Oh, yes. You know, if you check, you know, the documentation that I have, you know, in one of the documents, you know, the Rivers State government was writing for the revalidation of the waivers. Now, you can't possibly apply for a revalidation unless there has been, you know, a waiver previously granted. And in this particular case, in 2013, a year after the purchase of these aircrafts, a waiver was granted by the National Security Advisor. I have a document here, you know, when after the denial, you know, of these requests for waivers, the Rivers State government eventually wrote on the 14th of March 2016, asking the Chief of Air Staff to receive in custody these aircrafts and use them for military purposes. This was on the 14th of March 2016. On the 3rd of November 2016, this is the reply we got from the Office of the National Security Advisor. And please, you permit me to cite this directly. He said, I'm directed to respectfully refer to your correspondence dated 21st of April 2016 on the subject. I am to convey the National Security Advisor's approval to NAF, that's the Nigerian Air Force, to take custody and manage the two Shell Bell 412 helicopters as requested by the Rivers State government. Please accept the assurances of the National Security Advisor's highest esteem. This was signed by A.T. Famadewa, Brigadier General for National Security Advisor. Now, I'm saying this because these are the documents, and there are quite a range of this kind of documentation, including those originating from the Office of the Nigerian Customs.